this conversation really is about the place of artificial intelligence in South African newsrooms in light of this being the focus for World Press Freedom Day. Being based at the SABC, which has newsrooms across the country, what are you seeing happening with regard to artificial intelligence? Are there any specific ways in which the public broadcaster is making use of AI that you think would be interesting for us to know?
So not officially at the moment. We kind of started June, July 2023 with a wonderful 2-day workshop by PMA, Public Media Alliance, which, if my memory serves me correctly, used to be the Commonwealth Broadcasters Association, and then just kind of expanded to include public service media across the world. And then also, I'm sure you know, Paul McNally. So he's both into AI at the moment and podcasting. And we just had a wonderful session with the PMA CEO and Paul. And that's how we really started, was maybe five, 6 teams from across the continent. SABC, we had reps and colleagues from Namibia, Lesotho, I think Botswana, Ghana, if I recall, Seychelles as well. So that was really kind of like our introduction to AI. And it was, I think, a very good foundation.
You know, your extensive experience within newsrooms, what would you say you are seeing as the most significant opportunities and the most pressing red flag, so to speak, when it comes to AI and particularly press freedom now, not necessarily based on experience, but with AI, but based on what you've observed when technology of certain kinds makes its way into newsrooms?
So for me, I think the greatest, I think overall I'm a friend and supporter of AI. But I think it's like any form of journalism. You know, when the internet came along, I was doing the Truth Commission and I had a laptop that didn't send anything anyway, anywhere. It was, I think, 1998. And then all of a sudden they gave me a mouse and I didn't know what to do with the mouse. I was your classic advert where my hands and fingers were all over the screen. The introduction to emails and Google, and that just kind of opened up the world. But I do think it was a different kind of journalism. I think journalism from press clippings and doing proper interviews before that was greater and better. But it is about embracing new technology. So maybe I'm naive, but I'm not scared. So I would say I'm a friend of what it can bring. And I think the greatest opportunity would be if it can help us get rid of the mundane, get rid of the menial, those tasks that just bog us down, and hopefully open more the creative space. I'm hoping that would be the greatest opportunity, I think. The red flag for me deals with manipulation and how to decipher truth from fiction, fact from fiction, and what's real, what's not. So we can still see, we've seen the really crude and crass early stages of AI where you don't believe it, you can see it, but it's already so sophisticated, and it's going to get even more sophisticated that we're not going to be able to decipher fact from fiction, whether it's the visuals, the pictures, the audio visuals, or whatever. So that for me is a red flag, is how do we manage that manipulation? And then obviously that links to misinformation, disinformation, malinformation. With regard to media freedom, so and I'm specific about media freedom rather than press freedom, because I think press is antiquated. I think media is more encompassing. Media freedom in its broadest sense for me is really about the promotion of freedom of speech. And it's not just us as journalists and editors and newsrooms, it's what we do on behalf of and for the public that we serve. And how do we open the world of information, good, solid information on which they can continue to make sound, wise decisions that can inform and then impact their lives.
And I think with media freedom, one of its key values is in the promotion of democracy. Do you have any thoughts on AI and its impact on our democracy in light of opportunities and threats that you've outlined? In the broader scheme of things, really what is at stake or what can be enhanced when it comes to democracy with AI, in your opinion?
It's a deep and difficult question. I think so. If we look at the concept of democracy, I mean that's for plurality, for diversity, for equality. That's what those true societies are. But look at what's happening in one of the oldest democracies in the world, the United States of America. With your big tech were lined up behind Trump. What's happening in the White House, I'm flabbergasted every single day. So, and to what extent is AI or other forms of technology being linked, being used? I mean, we've got Musk's Starlink flying over our skies and striking a deal with Lesotho. Now, is that for the good of society in the world generally, or is it for the bad? So I think we need to be very conscious of what's going on. What are the agendas? And I'm not saying go look for a conspiracy behind every bush, but to be conscious of that. How does that develop a society, be it a society like us or a society that's been a long-standing democracy and has almost flipped 360 degrees on its head in the United States of America? To that extent, it's scary, but I think if we understand what the principles are, I mean, we could probably never imagine America being a dictatorship or authoritarianism or fascist. It's been unbelievable until I think what we've seen since Trump's re-election and re-inauguration. So I think if we understand what democracy is about, why democracy is important, what are the values and principles of that, and then how do we use the tools to enhance that? I mean, we're still talking about whether we're going to vote electronically or not. That may be overtaken within 3 months right around the world with AI. And how do we use that effectively? The tools that are coming, how do we use them effectively? And I think it's with any new tool, there are downsides, there are upsides. But critically important for me is that we educate, train, expose our journalists, our editors, and our newsrooms. All of us together, we've got to hold each other's hands, and that we do that same kind of literacy, for want of a better word, with the public that we serve, no matter where we find ourselves. I mean, look at social media. There are things that you see that, just are gobsmacked. You look at it and you're gobsmacked. I mean, look at the July 21 riots and looting and what happened there. Social media was used. So there's always going to be, and social media should be a democratic space. I mean, if you actually kind of go and dissect it, it should be a democratic space, but it can be used for bad. It has been used for bad, and it can be used for good. And I think it's the same with AI. Do we want democracies? Why does a democracy matter? And then how do you use any tool, any invention for the good of society, for the good of the entire world?
And then finally, Angie, what are your thoughts on the skills that you and the journalists in your newsroom need to be able to navigate what lies ahead for us?
I think the most important skill, once you've done that, would be discernment. To discern good from bad, right from wrong. And that's probably going to be the trickiest area I would be able to, when colleagues a few years, not so long ago, when they would post things on WhatsApp from social media, I would very easily be able to discern that this was fake, even if the name didn't exist. I knew where to go and have a look, that there had to be an about section in the newspaper, for example, if they'd copied something. How to cross-reference, like when the Pope died on Family Day, one of our colleagues, I was on duty this weekend, one of our colleagues gave us a tip-off quickly like that. She might have been watching Sky News, but that didn't mean we ran with it. I immediately went to, we work with BBC and Reuters. I went to check them. BBC wasn't ready yet. Reuters was ready. And then I thought, okay, I need to double verify that. And then I went straight to the Vatican. Within 2 minutes, I was able to get confirmed, verified news that the Pope had died. That's going to become more and more difficult, as it already is. So discernment the ability to discern right from wrong, fact from fiction.
Thank you. That really paints a very nice picture. Thank you so much, Angie. That's it on my end. I really appreciate you having made time.